Hey guys, it's me again. Hopefully you don't get too sick of me. I am just making a video on the spinal cord, just to go over that due to some requests that I've had, and yeah, so let's start. Okay, having an issue. So, spinal cord, okay, there it goes. So, my I can't talk. My tips and tricks aren't necessarily like complete doctrine, but I found that 9 out of 10 times it works, and so that's 90%. So that's what I've gone with, and it's worked with me. But so I'm just gonna go through different landmarks that are in the different slides that I'm gonna show you, and how I remember them. So what letter C is pointing to is your anterior median fissure. Your anterior median fissure. And so the way I remember this one, it's in all the slides that I've ever seen, it's a little bit more pronounced than this posterior median sulcus. So if you look, it looks a little like deeper, more noticeable, and to me that's a sign that it's the anterior one, as if it's more noticeable. And then this is the posterior median sulcus, and so they're basically the same, except for the last word. I guess on the first word. But so the last word changes from a fissure in the front to a sulcus in the back. And the way I remember that it's a sulcus in the back is because when you like get sad and like sulky, you usually go to like the back of the room and pout. So the sulcus, pouting in the back. So the fissure, anterior median fissure in the front, posterior median sulcus in the back, just to orient it. And then this B is pointing to your central canal. And so it's just the hole that's in the middle. And then on either side of it, so right here and right here, that's your gray commissure. I just remember it's on the sides of the central canal. I don't really know any tips and tricks, just your gray commissure on the sides. And then on here, you're going to have your dorsal horns, which are in the back, so the posterior side on both sides. I remember dorsal means back. I think of like a dolphin or a shark or anything with that dorsal fin. They have that fin on their back, so dorsal, back. It helps me remember to associate it with dolphins and sharks. I hope that helps you guys. But so the dorsal horns are inside of this, I like to call it the butterfly. And then the columns are on the outside. So your dorsal column is out here, and your white matter, and your dorsal column is in your white matter out here. And then you have your lateral horn. Lateral means side. So on the sides, you have your horn. And then on the white matter out here, you're going to have your lateral column. And then right here would be your ventral or anterior columns, here and here. And then your horns, your anterior horn right there. So hopefully that helps. This is a different slide of the same thing we just went over. It's just labeled more directly. So if you look, this anterior median fissure is more pronounced than this posterior one. Posterior one looks a little bit more imaginary, whereas this one at least has a little bit of start, just to tie that back in. So I think I went over everything that it goes over in the last slide. One thing this one shows up on many quizzes. I haven't really looked at the exam yet, but I would assume it's going to show up on the exam. But sometimes in the quizzes, I've noticed that the same picture will show up about 3 or 4 times because they can use it because it has so many different letters on it. The biggest piece of advice I would give is just read what letter they want. And don't give me the wrong letter, because I get that a lot, where somebody will give me a correct answer for the wrong letter. So just make sure to go through and make sure you're giving the right letter. If you are confused on like maybe what it's pointing at or what it wants, one thing that I found is helpful is by going through and labeling everything that I do know, because it doesn't point to the same thing twice. So you can start knocking words off if you know what other things are. Does that make sense? So yeah, another image of the spinal cord. That anterior median fissure is still a little bit thicker, darker, more pronounced. So that's how I label that. Again, with your horns, dorsal, lateral, ventral horns, your central canal. And then a lot of times this one doesn't show up on different slides, but when it does, it sometimes tricks people because they don't see it very often. And this is called your dorsal root ganglion. It's just this little structure right there. So that is what that is. And I think that is all the slides I have. Hopefully that helps you to be able to orient yourself to the spinal cord and helps you label them as well. Good luck on your test, guys.